Hello, everybody, and welcome here up at BSN Network. Today is when I'm recording this. It is Sunday, April 24th. This is going to be a pre-recorded video today. I apologize. I have not been doing a lot of videos. I apologize. I think my last video I did was on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday last week or Wednesday of last week? It was one of the days last week, and I know I missed Thursday and Friday, so I apologize for that. Was just very busy. Was not able to get a podcast in, but I'll be back in action today with a podcast, and hopefully, we'll be able to get as much content as I can out to you guys. I'm obviously, been a busy schedule, and number two, obviously with a lot of NFL draft stuff this week, I'm going to try my best to get videos out. I'm going to try my best to get NFL draft coverage out. I'm working on my mock draft right now. I'm actually working on my mock draft now with a lot of, just with, who I'm putting where, which teams are going to go, trades, all this different possibilities, and really, I'm finishing off my big board for the Jets and the Giants of possibilities of where they could go, within all the rounds of the draft and positions. So I'm going to try my best to get as much coverage as I can out to you guys. I have a busy week ahead, so I'll try to get videos out, even if it's quick 10-minute videos, even if it's quick, a quick 10-15-minute video of just me, explaining Jets or Giants stuff or whatever it is. I'm going to try to get to as much stuff as I can. But a lot to get to today on the podcast and a big weekend to recap here. Obviously, this is a pre-recorded video, so this will be up tomorrow. When you're watching this, this will be up Monday, April 25th. When I'm doing this, it's Sunday, April 24th, about 2 hours or so out from the Yankees win. Yankees got the win today, 10-2 against the Guardians. We're able to get the series sweep, so a great win today. Garrett Cole pitched great, got my Cole jersey on now, was wearing it today watching the game, and then, decided to put it back on for the podcast. So, later podcast today. It's going to be a quick one today because, I want to get this done, and then about 30 minutes, about a half an hour from now, Sunday Night Baseball will be starting tonight. We got the Phillies and the Brewers, so looking forward to that game. Going to watch that game and finish off the Sunday night before we head into the week ahead, which is going to be a very packed week. Got a lot of baseball, got a lot of hockey. Nets continue to stink, but they'll be on tomorrow. You obviously got the NFL draft, so a big week ahead in the world of sports. Let's get to the topics for today's podcast. Like I said, going to try to keep it within 25 minutes today, 20 to 30 minutes, anywhere within there. Want to get this done and go watch the Sunday Night Baseball game. So we're going to start off with the Yankees and the Mets update. We're going to talk about the Yankees today, talk a little about the Mets. Mets right now just was watching the game, then decided to do a podcast. Then watching the game, then there was a pitching change. They took Tyler McGill out, so I figured when that pitching change occurred, I was just going to, head and do a podcast. So that's what I'm doing now. Obviously, Yankees and Mets update. Was just watching that. Mets right now are winning 5-2 in the top of the eighth when I'm doing this. Now, by the time you're watching this, it's going to be Monday. They're going to be starting up a series against the Cardinals. But obviously, we'll see how that all plays out. Rest of this game, they're winning 5-2. Yankees, like I said, got the win today, 10-2, and sweep the series against the Guardians. So good win there. We'll get to the update and kind of just talk about the Yankees and the Mets. Then we'll get to the Nets and Celtics, and we'll update that. I mean, it's been a terrible series. It's been awful. It's been really bad. It's just been bad basketball from the Nets, turning the ball over. Kevin Durant's been terrible. He's been terrible. And Ben Simmons won't be back tomorrow. When you're watching this on Monday, he won't be back Monday to play in Game 4. He woke up with back soreness. It's just ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. This season's becoming lost, and I think there's a great chance. I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, I hope that the Nets pull off a miracle and they win 4 straight and run the table and move on. But I don't think it's going to happen. I would love to get at least one win. I mean, if we can at least win one and make it look less worse. I mean, getting swept is really embarrassing. If you can at least win one, maybe, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Nets are going to get swept. But we'll get to the update, talk about the series, and I want to give you an interesting stat. 143-0 are teams when they're leading by 3-0. So Nets really their chances are slim. They got to win 4 straight. They got to win 4 straight. They haven't won one at all. They got to win 4 straight. So, it's been terrible. They put themselves in a situation, dumb turnovers, bad mistakes, Kevin Durant playing bad, Kyrie Irving not playing good either. It just, your 2 biggest guys have not done anything. Then that's going to lose you games. So we'll get to that. And then we'll finish off the podcast with the rest of the New York sports update and all that good stuff as we get ready for another week ahead of sports. All right, so With that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. All right, so Yankees and Mets update here. Like I said, Yankees won today against the Cleveland Guardians 10-2, so they were able to get the series sweep, and the Yankees improved to 10-6. Garrett Cole pitched really well. You gotta like what you saw today from the Yankees. Obviously the week started really, really poorly with the 5-0 loss to the Orioles. Cole obviously had the terrible outing in Detroit against the Tigers. Didn't get to 2 innings, didn't get a pitch 2 innings, pitched 1 2/3. It was just an all-around bad performance for the Yankees. In that Orioles game, and then obviously you start the Tigers series, and they took 2 out of 3 there. But then you have the bad game, the third game of that series where they get shut out, and then you have this Guardian series where they look like a completely different ball team. They win 4-1 on Friday night. They win yesterday 5-4 with a walk-off single by Gleyber Torres, and prior to that, you obviously had a double by IKF that tied the game. Then Gleyber with the walk-off single, and you have today's game where the Yankees put up a 10 spot. And this is the Yankees team, and this is the Garrett Cole that we saw today that we want to see, and this is what the team needs to be. And like I said at the beginning of the season when I talked about this Yankee team, there are a lot of positives with this team. If this team plays well, it can be dominant. I said it at the beginning of the season. I also said, though, it could be twofold. Just as dominant as the team could be, they could just be that bad. And they showed that a little bit. Lost 2 out of 3 against the Orioles. I understand they won 2 out of 3 against the Tigers, but it was ugly. Not hitting in big spots. You get shut out, on the final game of that series on Thursday. And it's just, you leave with a bad taste in your mouth in Detroit. Your ace, Garrett Cole, wasn't able to get past 2 innings against a Tigers team that's no major threat by any means. They're in a rebuild. They're a younger team that's restocking, obviously, for the future. And they've been doing that for the past couple seasons. But to come out this weekend and sweep against the Guardians was great. It was awesome. And it felt great as a fan because it's almost like now there's a little bit of a renewed energy in this team. Like, you had the 2 sluggish, you had the 6-game road trip that just stunk from every aspect. On the 6-game road trip just stunk. You lose 2 out of 3 against the Orioles. And like I said, the weird series in Detroit that just you want to take that series and forget about it. Even though we won 2 out of 3, it was just bad. But it was a great win. A great win today, and a great win the past couple days. And like I said, today, and I got my scorebook in front of me, so I'll read you some of the numbers as I did it. I did the scorebook today like I do the majority of the games. Obviously, today was great. And today is what you want to see from the Yankees. And today is what you want to see specifically from Garrett Cole. Because that start in Detroit, you talk about hitting rock bottom. I mean, that was the shortest amount of innings he's ever won in his career. That was the most walks he's ever had in his career. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think that was the first time in his career he ever walked in a run. Don't quote me on that. I might be mixing that up, but I believe it was something like first time he ever allowed a run in on a walk or something like that. He was awful. But he came out today, faced against a good Guardians team. Actually, I think the Guardians are a better team than the Tigers, in my opinion. And got the job done and pitched really well. And today, by far, out of the first 3 starts of the season where he pitched to a 6.35 ERA, today was by far, no doubt about it, Garrett Cole's best start. And today looked like vintage Garrett Cole. Today looked like the Garrett Cole, the $300 million Garrett Cole. That's what he looked like today. He threw 6 2/3, allowed 4 hits, no runs, no earned, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, was efficient, 92 pitches, 66 strikes. ERA was all the way up to 6.35, now all the way back down to 4.0, and now he waits to his next start, and if he has a good next start, his ERA could drop to the low 3s, high 2s, and boom, you're right back in a position where we want Garrett Cole, and that is the ace of this rotation. And obviously, we saw Nestor Cortez as well put on an outing yesterday, and the Yankees' pitching's been great. I mean, it's been great. It's been really good. Despite the hitting being streaky, and obviously, they scored 19 runs across these 3 games, which was great. 4 in the first one, 5 yesterday, and then they obviously put up 10, the Big 10 spot today to wrap up the series and get the sweep. The Yankees' pitching's been phenomenal. All the way from, even without Cole. But now if Cole can start to get on a roll, you add that to a rotation where Monty's been good. Cortez has been dominant. Sevy looks like the Sevy that we all saw, prior to his Tommy John surgery that sidelined him for the entire 2020 season. And in the majority of last year, that's the Sevy the Sevy we've seen so far is the Sevy we saw in 2019. And that was one of the better pitchers in baseball when he was pitching good. He was one of the better he was one of the high energy, better, just fun to watch pitchers in baseball. With that fastball, when he could locate it, very good. He's looked good. Tyone has been a pleasant surprise after his rocky year last year. He's been a pleasant surprise. And now all you got to do if you're a Yankee fan, you just hope that Cole can build on this, because he had 3 subpar outings his first 3 games, right? And then obviously the one in Detroit. And, sometimes for a pitcher, and especially a pitcher that magnitude like Cole, sometimes it takes one of those starts to hit rock bottom for you to turn things around. I always go back to Tyone. Tyone last year, and I was actually at the game. It was the Phillies-Yankees game in Philly at Citizens Bank Park. I was actually at that game. And that was the game where Tyone didn't even get out of the first inning. Allowed, I think, 4 runs, pitched 2/3 of an inning or 1/3 of an inning. I don't know. Something like that. He didn't even get out of the inning. Yankees ended up losing that game in 10 innings. It was in extras they ended up losing it. DJ LeMahieu, I think, had a 3-run homer, I believe, to tie things up. I think it was 8-7, I think they lost, or something like that. But I remember that start. He was awful. And you had all the media saying all this bad stuff about him, and believe me, I was right there with him. But right after that start, he was very good. His next start and the rest of the year, he was a different pitcher. And sure, he obviously had his better, sure he had some bumps in the road, but he was a better pitcher. And now you got to hope that's with Cole. That Detroit start, that's rock bottom. I mean, that's without a doubt. That start was worse than the wild card start in Boston. That was his worst start of his career. He couldn't even get out of the first 2 innings. Boston, he couldn't get out of the first 3. This one, and in Boston, he didn't walk 5 guys either. Boston, they were just hitting him, and they were hitting him hard. This game, he was walking guys, so they didn't give him a chance to hit. So it might have took a start like that for him to really hit rock bottom to realize, look, I got to change something. I got to fix something. And he did that today. And whatever he did, whatever his preparation was, whatever it was, he pitched well, and he did it without Higashioka, which I believe 31 of Cole's last 33 starts have been caught by Higashioka. So it was definitely interesting seeing, the catcher other than Higgy, but he pitched well with Trevino, and it was good to see and a lot to like from today's start. And the Yankees get their 10th win of the season. Like I said, just to go through some of the numbers, LeMahieu had a huge day. It was a triple shy of the cycle, had a double, had a single, had a home run, and went 3 for 4, double, single, home run. Was, like I said, was a triple shy of the cycle. They ended up taking him out, putting in Marlon Gonzalez, who actually had a single as well. Judge had a nice day. He started off with a leadoff double. He ended up scoring the run with Rizzo. Rizzo had a big day. He went 2 for 5 with a home run and a double. A big day for him. Home run and a double, like I said, and 2 RBIs. Obviously, like I said, the leader was, without a doubt, LeMahieu. He went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and was a triple shy of the cycle. And you look at the rest of the lineup, too. I mean, even Gallo got in the hit column today. Got a double, an RBI double, and that was good to see. I know he struck out 3 times. It's Joey Gallo, but, at least he got a double. At least he, was able to, do that. And look, the reality is, if Gallo can do that in games, if he can get an RBI double, if he can hit an RBI single, and even if he strikes out 3 times, if he's getting runs and he's scoring runs, he's getting big hits, nobody's going to care about the strikeouts. If he can crank in home runs, if he can hit for power, no one's going to care about the strikeouts. So seeing him get a double today was nice. Isaiah Connor-Falefa continues his hot streak. His batting average is all the way up to 300 now. Tim LeCastro came in, got a home run. I mean, like I said, from top to bottom, just a great day. Torres as well had a nice day, had a double and a single. He added on with a walk as well, so got on base 3 of his 4 at-bats. You got to hope maybe Gleyber can start to get going a little bit, because if he can start to get going, that opens up a whole lot more for this team. Obviously, he had the single yesterday, the walk-off single, and you got to like what you saw today. I mean, the only guy in the lineup that didn't do anything was Rizzo. Trevino didn't either, but Trevino did get on base. The only guy that did not get on base today was Donaldson. I apologize. Did I say Rizzo? I mean Donaldson. Donaldson was the only guy that did not get on base. Other than that, every other Yankee hitter got on base. Trevino didn't get a hit, but he was able to get a walk, and he had a run scored. So he was at least able to get on and got past home. Donaldson was the only one. But Rizzo, Judge, LeMahieu, Hicks got in there as well. He had a single, and he also had a fielder's choice, which was an RBI for him. So an all-around good day. And it's a Sunday. You have a day off tomorrow. And now you start up at 3 against Baltimore. Tuesday, Thursday, then head on the road to play Kansas City for 3, starting up next weekend, Friday through Sunday. So you got to like what you saw. But now you play Baltimore. And it's like, now you play Baltimore. It's like, come on, you got to beat Baltimore. You got to beat Baltimore. It should be a sweep. And if you could sweep Baltimore, you're 13-6. You got to feel good. So, say what you want. I've been very down on this team at times, but there's days like today, there's series like these series where they make you really feel good about yourself. And they're 10-6 right now. They play Baltimore at the stadium for 3. You got to sweep them. I mean, you have to, especially after losing 2 out of 3 against them. You got to come out and just beat them up. Sweep them. Do what you need to do. And, if the Yankees sweep the Orioles, you're looking at 13-6. That's a pretty good start to the first 19 games, if you ask me. So, lot to like. Yankees have a day off tomorrow. They'll be back in action on Tuesday. And to give you a little bit of an update on the Mets, top of the 9th right now. They're winning 6-2. It was a good game. It was 1-1. And then the Mets really exploded. They've scored 4 runs in the past 2 innings. 7th, they put up 2. 8th, they put up 2. Now it's the top of the 9th with 1 out. Lindor's at the plate. Lindor today's 2 for 4 with an RBI. Lindor's hitting really well. He's playing really well. And the Mets as well. Like I said, another, right now, give you a little bit of an update on them. Like I said, they're winning right now 6-2. But, if you're a Met fan, you got to like what you're seeing. They're a high-energy team. They're hitting. They're fun to watch. And I got to agree as a Yankee fan, they're a team that's very fun to watch. They're very fun. You like what you're seeing. Buck Showalter's clicking all the right buttons right now. And, I mean, that is huge. That in itself is huge. He's clicking all the right buttons. He's doing what he needs to do. The lineup's coming through. The pitching's been great. And one of my biggest things with the Mets so far this season has been how good their pitching's been. And similar to the Yankees is with the Mets, how good their pitching's been, and Jacob deGrom's not healthy. Right? Once you put Jacob deGrom back into the mix, that's going to be insane. If they keep up that pace. And like I said with the Yankees, their pitching was great, and that was with Cole struggling. Now if Cole can have more days like he had today, where he's throwing, 6-7 innings of lights-out baseball, pumping in 9, 10, 11 strikeouts, that's what we like to see. That's with the Mets rotation, too. I mean, guys like McGill, Carrasco, Bassett, Scherzer obviously leading the way, had an excellent Citi Field debut, pumping in 10 Ks through 7 innings. You got to like what you're seeing from your pitching rotation. And yet again today, watching the game, McGill put another quality start out there for him. The bullpen's been a little bit of a concern, but you got to like what you see from your starting pitching. And McGill yet again today, 6 2/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 7 strikeouts. A lot to like if you're a Met fan. And the bats, too, are coming alive. They've been coming alive. I mean, it's a deep lineup. It's a very talented team, and I've said that. I mean, this is a lineup built for success. You got a lot of really, really good bats in this lineup. I mean, even down to guys like, Mark Canha, that's been a nice surprise for them. A guy that wasn't expected to be a huge, huge bat. He's been a really nice surprise, batting .308 to start the year, and he had another hit today. Now the Mets, like I said, go to the bottom of the 9th now, so they'll look to close it out and get the win and get the series win. But, I mean, the Mets are on their way. They have the best record in baseball right now, and if they can hold on here, they got 3 more outs to hold on to this one. They're on their way to being a 12-win team, and they're on their way to be facing the Cardinals coming up, which is a very solid team so far. They're 9-5 this season, having some good early season success. And you have a division opponent coming up late in the week. So, the Mets right now to start the year. I know it's early, but all the boxes that they've needed to check with a new manager, with a new roster, new lineup, without Jacob deGrom, all the boxes that they've needed to check, they've had. They have checked them. They've done everything they needed to do. They've proven that they can win without deGrom. They've proven that, Buck Showalter up to this point's proven that he's been the right guy. They're believing in him. Their bullpen's been the one issue. That's been the one issue. But that's been the issue for the past 3 years, it seems. Their bullpen's very iffy, and it's been that way for a long time now. Their bats have been great. Like I said, offensively, Lindor, who came into this season with a lot of pressure, has shown you that he has, that he made the necessary adjustments in the offseason. Now he can, deal with the New York market. He's off to a very good start, batting over 300. He's at, Lindor's at 313 with a 408 on base percentage. Like I said, Starling Marte off to a good start. Alonso, who's been a little iffy, but, 254 hitter, that's the hitter Alonso's going to be. They've checked all the boxes. They've done everything they needed to, and if they can continue on this path like we expect in the beginning of the season, they're going to be a very tough team to beat come later in the season. And, it's a fun team. Like I said, I'm a Yankee fan, And I don't like seeing the Mets do well, but, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. They're a very good team. Steve Cohen up to this point, Buck Showalter up to this point, this entire organization has clicked all the right buttons because this team's 3 outs away from winning their 12th game in 18 tries. So you got to like what you're seeing from a Met fan as well. And like I said, 3 against the Cardinals coming up. Then they have the Phillies later in the week as well, which will be another division opponent. They'll have the Phillies at Citi Field that time, which should be a fun one. So, all right, so that's what I got there for the Yankees and the Mets. So a positive segment because the Yankees get it to sweep. Mets are 3 outs away. As long as their bullpen doesn't blow a 4-run lead, they're 3 outs away from coming out of Arizona with a series win. So a lot of positivity around the baseball right now. Yankees winning 5 of 6 as well. Now we got to get to basketball. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the dreadful Brooklyn Nets. Nets are 1 game away from going to Cancun, going on vacation, going to an island, and sailing off to the sunset for another NBA season. Nets are down 3-0. They've been playing awful. They've been playing terrible. I'm going to kind of recap it and kind of give you a quick my observations of what I've seen so far this series and what the Nets need to do if they want any shot of making this, if they want any shot of trying to find a way to turn things around here. Nets are 1 game away from elimination, down 3-0. We'll get to that much more coming up next. All right, so welcome you back here up at the podcast. We started off with a nice, positive, good segment. Got my Yankee jersey on. I'm feeling good about the win today. And now we go to a negative segment. And we go to a segment that I wish I would be talking about right now with the Nets leading 3-0. I mean, if the Nets leading 3-0, I'd be so happy today. I mean, if the Nets were up 3-0, I'd be ecstatic. I mean, I would be great right now. Even if the Nets won last night, I'd feel better about the position of the team than I would down 3-0. Let's be real here, okay? Let's be real here. Let's be real here. I'm trying to think of what I want to say because I have so much that I want to say, and I have so much that I want to recap and try to encapsulate what has gone on in this series because there's been a whole lot of bad stuff, there's been a whole lot of negativity, and there's been a whole lot of things that, pretty much everything that could have went wrong for the Nets this series has gone wrong. And that's why we're down 3-0. That's the reality. But let's be real here. They're down 3-0, okay? So, if any time while I'm talking about this, I say, they're going to need to do this or that, teams are 143-0 when they're up 3-0. There's never been in any series, any playoff, finals, playoffs, first round, second round, whatever it is, in the history of the NBA, there has never been a team to come back from down 3-0. The biggest comeback of all time was the Cavs-Warriors series, where the Cavs came back from down 3-1. That was not down 3-0, that was 3-1. Great comeback, but that's the closest a team has come to coming back from down 3-0. They came back from down 3-1. This series, on the other hand, down 3-0. Teams are 143-0 when they're up 3-0 in a series, and teams are 0-143 when they're down 3-0 in the series. So I don't see any possibility of the Nets coming back. Do I hope the Nets win? Do I hope the Nets come back? Yeah, I would love that. But do I see it happening? No. Do I think there's any chance? No. Would I actually be surprised if the Nets win on Monday? Yeah, I would be. I'd be surprised if the Nets win tonight. And when you're watching this is Monday. While I'm doing this is Sunday, like I said, pre-recorded video. But the Nets, everything that could have went wrong for the Nets this series has gone wrong. And you start off with game 1 where you lose 115-114. Inexcusable defense late in that game. Dumb mistakes, turnovers that shouldn't be happening, cost you that game. You go to game 2, and it's the same thing all over again. It's turnovers, mistakes, coming out of halftime sluggish, blowing leads. Another inexcusable performance. Nets in game 2 led by a massive amount at a time. I mean, they went into halftime up by 10. Come out of half, and they blow it. Getting outscored by 5 in the third quarter, and then getting outscored by 12 in the fourth. That's a total of being outscored by 17 points in the second half. Kevin Durant as well shot 4 of 17 from the field. He's been awful this series. And as much as I love Kevin Durant, and as much as he's been great for the Nets, he did a lot for them last postseason. If it wasn't for KD, this team would have sunk a long time ago. I mean, if it wasn't for Kevin Durant, there's a good chance this team's not even in the postseason. With all the James Harden and Kyrie stuff that was going on. But he's been awful. I mean, he's been terrible. And this is probably the worst I've ever seen Kevin Durant play. And I can tell you this is the worst I've ever seen him play in a net uniform. I don't know, I don't know how bad he's ever been in his career. I mean, I'm sure he's had off nights. But in the 2 years that he's played with us, obviously he's been with us for 3 years. First year he didn't play due to the torn Achilles. Last season played this season as well. In his second full season with us, I've never seen him play this bad. Now, there's been nights where he's off, and there's always going to be nights where players are off, but it's never been this bad. Nor have I seen teams defend him this much. But the Nets got to do a better job of trying to get him off, screens, play him off ball screens, second chance opportunities, kicking it out, setting, pick and rolls, doing all that stuff. They got to do a better job of getting Durant open. And Durant's got to do a better job when he got the ball. Not forcing up shots, double cover, not trying to pass balls right into the paint where the Celtics have an advantage. Making the smart pass, not trying to force things. What I saw from the Brooklyn Nets last night is exactly what I would expect from a team down 2-0 and in desperation of almost falling down 3-0. And that was a team that was trying to do too much. A team that was trying to, score trying to make a comeback in one possession. Kevin Durant was trying to make too many fancy passes, was trying to, thread the needle too many times, or trying to do all these different things too much. They were all playing this advantage. They were just not going back to the fundamentals of basketball of just passing the ball, getting good looks. They were pressing. They were being anxious. They were taking shots that should not be taken. They were just not playing smart, and they were turning the ball over, and that is why the Nets right now are down 3-0 and are one game away from getting swept. Two superstars on the roster, one game away from being on an island somewhere in the middle of nowhere. That's the reality, and that's where we're at with the Brooklyn Nets. You lose on the buzzer beater in game one. You're like, okay, we got to come back from this. You blow a massive lead in game two, and last night you look flat out horrible for the entire game. There was not one moment in that game last night where I really felt good about the Nets. Game one, there was times where the Nets were playing really well. Game two, they started really well. I wasn't optimistic that they're going to win, but they started really well. Last night, they just got outplayed. They got outplayed. That's the reality. Whether you like it or not, that's it. Kevin Durant's been awful. They've been relying too much on guys like Bruce Brown and Seth Curry, who, by the way, have done well, but they're not going to win you series. Bruce Brown's not going to win you an NBA Finals. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are, and they have been below average at best. So we find ourselves in this position, down 3-0. Tomorrow night, you talk about a lot of times a must-win, or this is a huge game. No longer is this this is a big game. This is a must-win. Nets got to win 4 straight. They got to win tomorrow night, or rather Monday night, which is tonight when you're watching this. Then they got to win Wednesday, they got to win Friday, and then they got to win again whenever they play after that. And Ben Simmons, by the way, is out. I don't even think Ben Simmons wants to play basketball anymore. And I know I'm thinking too ahead, but personally, I would say that if the Nets are going to, I think if what's best for the Nets is they should probably trade Simmons in the offseason. Maybe you keep him, maybe you don't. But if you could flip Ben Simmons for another superstar, that'd be big. Or a young, talented player, that'd be big. I just don't know. I think the biggest thing for the Nets going into the offseason, whenever the series ends, because we all know it's not looking good. They got to get a better supporting cast around Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I mean, I also think Steve Nash's time's up. I mean, he's been awful. Why is Aldridge not in? Finally, Blake Griffin got some minutes last night and played well, but it's just not good. It's just not a good situation. And it's frustrating because when you have two superstars and the season went this up and down, the postseason's this bad, it's just really frustrating as a fan, because this was supposed to be a super team that was supposed to win not one championship, but people said multiple, and we're one game away from being eliminated for the second straight year in a row with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving leading the way without even getting to the NBA Finals. So it's obviously tough. It's frustrating. I don't really, we'll see how it plays out. But Nets really poor basketball, and it's just been it's been ugly. It's ugly. It's just bad basketball. That's what it is. So down 3-0 Monday night. Nets Celtics back at Barclays. We'll see if the Nets can find a way to squeak out one game and keep the series alive. We'll see. All right, so let's get to New York Sports Update, fantasy baseball, and finish things off today. Like I said, we got Sunday Night Baseball tonight, 0-0 right now on the top of the first. Gonna go watch that here in a second. Basketball, all the games that I got on, today have already finished. On Monday, Nets, Celtics, like I said, 76ers, Raptors, Mavericks, Jazz. Nets actually open up Monday's game as 1.5 point favorites, 7 Eastern on TNT. I don't think the Nets win. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't foresee it happening. As for the MLB, you have Brewers, Giants, Phillies, Rockies, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Rangers, Astros, Angels, Guardians, Diamondbacks, Dodgers, Mets, Cardinals as well, 7:45 p.m. Eastern. MLB Network at SNY. It will be Scherzer versus Mike Mikolas. Scherzer looks to continue his dominance, and we'll see how all that plays out. And as for the NHL, you have the Flyers and the Blackhawks are the only game on Monday. So that's that. And, as for the New York sports, or as for fantasy baseball, right now I'm currently losing 306 to 290 in my main league. Had a big performance today, but too little too late seems. In my other league, I'm currently winning 274 to 252. So we'll see how it all plays out. I'm down by, what am I down by? Let's see. I'm down by 16. So I need, let's see here. We can do the math. I need Willy Adames, Bryce Harper, Gene Segura, and JT Realmuto, 60 all to get me. Now I'm down 17 to get me 18 points. So let me do the division there. 18 divided by 4. Average for them, but all average for each of those guys, 4.5 points. So my chances aren't great. They're pretty stacked against, but we'll see how it all plays out. So, like I said, in my other league, I'm winning as well. So we'll see how that all plays out there, and yeah. Alrighty, so that will do it for the podcast today. Another good one in the books. Like I said, this is pre-recorded, so this will be up Monday, April 25th. And like I said, I'm going to try my best to get as much draft stuff up as I can. I'll definitely be watching it. I've done a lot of I think this year might be the most research I've ever done, because it's just such an unpredictable draft with so many different options, so many different possibilities. And with the Jets having 2 picks within the top 10 and so much things they could have done, I've gone through almost every legit scenario the Jets could have done, and I've gone through it all in my head. Whether they trade back at number 10, who they take at number 4, whether this guy falls here, whether this guy goes here, make this trade, do this, do that. I've gone through it all. I think it's going to be an entertaining week. Deebo Samuel's name will be brought up a lot. You know how I feel about it. I want him on the New York Jets. If they can find a way to do that, they could do that as well. But so many different possibilities, so many different things. So, I'll try to get to what all it is as the best I can. But that will do it for today's podcast. As always, I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.